A group of teenagers has been shrunk down to miniature size and dropped in the backyard. Their parents always told them to go play outside, but not like this. Grounded is an open-world survival game. In it, you play as a young kid who has been mysteriously shrunk down to the size of a bug and dropped into a common suburban backyard. The yard itself is filled with a variety of flowers, bugs, plants, and trash, as well as suspicious machines powered by weird science, and if you can figure out how to repair them, they may hold the key to returning you to your original size. Like most survival games, when it starts, you'll be dropped down into the middle of the map with no items or equipment. From there, you'll need to scavenge resources from the surrounding environment, collecting rocks and sticks which will allow you to form rudimentary tools which you can use to collect materials that will allow you to craft basic gear. Collected stones, grass, and stems can be used to construct crafting benches, as well as basic structures with interlocking walls, roofs, and floors. You can also make weapons and armor, which will help protect you when you're out exploring the yard, in case you run into As you adventure through the yard, you'll find that different areas form their own unique biomes, complete with different resources and, more importantly, different insects. Now, while a lot of the smaller insects will either run away from you or just ignore you, some of the larger ones are predatory and will actively attack you. To defend yourself, you'll be able to build a variety of swords, spears, and clubs to fight with in miniature Mortal Kombat. The game has a parry system, so timing your blocks to enemy attack patterns can help you defeat more challenging foes. There are also a few bows and arrows which can help you defeat ranged or flying enemies. Now, while you can almost always run away, killing insects and harvesting their various shells and horns is part of your progress. Various insect bits can be examined at the research table to unlock new recipes. These new recipes can be advanced tools, additional base components, consumables, or new crafting benches which will allow you to manufacture higher-tiered arms and armor. This better gear will allow you to explore more hazardous environments, such as underground or underwater, where you'll be able to find and complete the secret labs that hopefully contain information about how to return to normal size.
Defeat. Failure.
Now, Grounded is a unique take on the classic survival genre. It's got an inspired premise, and there's a lot to like about it. For starters, the visual design is really good. The game's environments do a great job of reinforcing the idea that you've been shrunk down to miniature size. All of the giant blades of grass and flowers and acorns do a great job of communicating both an unfamiliar and familiar environment. The insect designs are also really good, distinctive and recognizable from a distance, whether it's enormous ants or giant ladybugs or, nope. The exploration element is also very strong. As mentioned before, the different sections of the yard have their own unique environments, each of them with their own unique enemies, resources, and hazards. And slowly exploring and learning the best combination of items and equipment to overcome these hazards is one of the best parts of the game. You can even find the various insects of the yard dynamically wandering and interacting with each other. Now, it should be noted that the building system in Grounded is particularly robust. And I'm not talking about the crafting system, which is already fairly extensive, allowing you to collect and refine all manner of animal and mineral chunks. But no, the building system is what allows you to take walls and floors and roofs and snap them together to make little outposts or houses that you can rest in. As you unlock new recipes, you'll find yourself being able to construct defenses, storage containers, and even zip lines that you can use for fast travel. And the game is very generous in terms of where and how you can build, which means that if you are feeling particularly pernicious, you can use your structures to sequence break and gain access to areas that shouldn't normally be available to you. Now, I do have some complaints. For instance, as much as I praise the game's visual design, you spend a lot of the early game in grassy areas, which as you can see here are a little confusing to navigate. Your field of vision gets cut down a lot by the layers of grass that are surrounding you, and it's not unbearable. You've got a map and there are a lot of landmarks that can help you navigate, but it's no wonder that by the time you reach the mid-game, a lot of the environments start to open up. Another thing is that resource collection can be kind of tedious. The materials that you need for your buildings and your crafting benches come almost exclusively from the surrounding environment. But the materials that you need for your armor and weapons have to be obtained by hunting bugs. And this can lead to a lot of repetitive combat as you grind out mobs of enemies for rare resource drops. It's a little better if you've got co-op partners to help kind of speed it up, but you're still going to need a bunch of materials even playing solo. A good example of this is how, in order to build a zipline network, you need to collect a lot of spider webs, which means that you're going to be facing a lot of, well, you know, ugh. And finally, my biggest complaint is with the combat system. It's mostly first-person melee combat, which is never my favorite, although at least you do have the option to switch to third-person, so that is nice. The bigger problem I had, though, was that maintaining awareness in combat could often be a challenge. Sometimes it's because grass or rocks might get in the way, sometimes it's because of lighting or damage effects. But a lot of the time, it was because the enemies I was fighting were gigantic monsters that took up the entire screen. And this makes it very hard, especially when you're having to constantly reposition just so that you can see the enemies that you're fighting. It's especially difficult in the late game, where you're often having to fight against waves of enemies who are attacking you from different directions, and you're having to move and block and dodge multiple enemy attack patterns all at the same time. And it's tricky because the only solution to this seems to be co-op, because at least if you're playing with other people, they can draw some of the aggro off of you and you won't be under constant assault. In the end, I would ultimately give Grounded 3 out of 4 stars. The world and the environment are great, the exploration is fantastic, and the building system is delightfully adaptable. But the combat system can be a little tedious, and you have to do a lot of it in order to get the resources that you need. Again, co-op alleviates a lot of these problems. If you can play multiplayer with friends, then this game is an easy recommendation. But if you're potentially going at it solo, I would only recommend it to people that are especially interested in action and adventure titles, mixed with a survival element. Alright, that's all from my neck of the woods. Thanks for listening. Till next time. Alright, let's see here. Arachnophobia mode. Yeah, okay, this might solve some of the problems I've been having. Let's just click this, and then we'll see what we get. Okay, yeah, this might give me more nightmares, not fewer.